There is a small farmhouse jar sitting in a cellar somewhere in Eastern Europe right now, bubbling quietly, doing more for digestion than half the supplements sold in modern pharmacies. Nobody is watching it. Nobody is filming it. It is just fermenting, the way it has for centuries, while somewhere else, someone swallows a probiotic capsule made in a factory and wonders why their stomach still hurts. That contrast is the whole story of gut health today. We live in a world of digestive discomfort that our great-grandparents rarely complained about. Bloating after meals, sluggish digestion, unpredictable energy, crashes an hour after eating. And yet the shelves are more full of gut health products than ever before. Something does not add up. Maybe the answer was never in a capsule. Maybe it was in the root cellar, the garden fence, the kitchen jar, the whole time. Modern research is starting to circle back to something old homesteads never forgot. The gut is not just a digestive tube. It is closer to a second command center for the body, and what feeds it can change how a person feels, thinks, and heals. Research suggests the trillions of microorganisms living in the digestive tract influence inflammation, mood, immunity, and even how the body absorbs nutrients from food. Traditional healers and early farmers did not have this vocabulary, but they had generations of observation, and observation taught them which foods settled the stomach and which ones caused trouble. In the next few minutes, we are going to walk through 15 of those foods. Some grow wild along fences and are usually pulled out and thrown away. Some sit quietly in the spice rack, underestimated. One of them was fed to farm animals for its toughness, long before anyone realized what it was doing internally. Stick around, because item 11 is one that most people already own and have never once considered for digestion. And the final food on this list is the one traditional healers reached for first whenever something in the stomach felt wrong. If you want forgotten plant wisdom, practical health science, and self-sufficient living ideas delivered every week, hit that subscribe button now, because you don't want to miss what's coming next. Number 1. Fermented cabbage. Most people walk past a jar of sauerkraut in a store and see nothing more than a sour side dish. But old homesteads saw something else entirely, a way to keep a vegetable edible through a brutal winter, and, without knowing the science behind it, a way to keep the stomach working properly when fresh produce disappeared for months. Fermentation was survival technology before it was a health trend. Farmers packed shredded cabbage into crocks with salt, weighed it down, and let time and naturally occurring bacteria do the rest. What came out weeks later was tangy, slightly sharp on the tongue, with a smell that was unmistakably alive compared to the flat blandness of boiled vegetables. Modern science has since caught up to what those cellars were producing. Research suggests fermented cabbage develops beneficial bacterial strains during the process, along with fiber and vitamin C that can support the digestive lining. Studies indicate fermented foods in general may help diversify the population of organisms living in the gut, and a more diverse internal ecosystem has been linked to steadier digestion and a calmer inflammatory response. The mistake most people make today is buying pasteurized sauerkraut from a regular grocery shelf, which has usually been heat-treated and stripped of the very organisms that made it useful in the first place. Look instead for the refrigerated, unpasteurized kind, or better yet, make it at home with nothing more than cabbage, salt, and patience. Use it as a small side portion with meals rather than a main dish, a spoonful alongside protein or grains, the way it was traditionally eaten. It should smell earthy and faintly sour, never rotten or overly soft in texture. An old jar in a cold cellar outlasted winter and quietly did more for digestion than most people today realize a vegetable ever could. Number 2. Bone broth. Here is a truth most modern kitchens have lost. Nothing in the pot went to waste. Bones, cartilage, joints, the parts we now throw straight into the bin, were simmered for hours or even days over a low fire, and the resulting liquid was treated like medicine long before it had a marketing label. Traditional healers and old households did not have a laboratory to explain why broth felt soothing to an unsettled stomach, or a person recovering from illness. They simply noticed the pattern, generation after generation, and passed the practice down. Modern science has offered some explanation. Long, slow simmering draws collagen, gelatin, and minerals out of bones and connective tissue. Research suggests gelatin may help support the lining of the digestive tract, and amino acids released during the cooking process have been studied for their potential role in reducing gut inflammation. The mineral content, including calcium, magnesium, and phosphorus, has traditionally been used to support overall recovery during illness. The mistake most people make is rushing it. A true broth needs low heat and hours of patience, sometimes 12 to 24 hours, to properly extract collagen from bone and cartilage. A quick 30-minute simmer produces flavored water, not the thick, slightly gelatinous liquid that should turn semi-solid once refrigerated. Sip it warm on its own. Use it as a base for soups, or cook grains directly in it. The smell should be rich and savory, almost meaty, with a texture that thickens slightly as it cools, evidence that collagen was actually extracted. Every bone thrown away today once carried nourishment that entire households refuse to waste. Number 3. Fermented dairy. Long before refrigeration existed, fresh milk was a ticking clock. It spoiled fast, so early herders and farmers found a way to work with that instability instead of fighting it, deliberately souring milk with cultures to create something that lasted longer and, as it turned out, sat easier on the stomach than fresh milk ever did. This is where fermented dairy traditions were born, foods now recognized under names like kefir and yogurt, but rooted in practices that stretch back across mountain villages and nomadic herding communities for thousands of years. Modern science has connected the dots between old practice and new understanding. Studies indicate the fermentation process breaks down a portion of the lactose in milk, which may make it easier to digest for people with mild sensitivity. Research suggests the live bacterial cultures introduced during fermentation can contribute beneficial strains to the gut, potentially supporting more consistent digestion over time. An overlooked truth here: not all fermented dairy on the shelf today is equal. Many commercial yogurts are heavily sweetened and only lightly cultured, which limits the very benefit people are trying to buy. Traditional kefir, made with kefir grains and left to ferment at room temperature, tends to carry a wider range of bacterial and yeast strains than a quick-set store yogurt. Drink it plain, blend it with a small amount of fruit, or use it as a tangy base for sauces. It should taste sharply sour, slightly effervescent if it's true kefir, with a thin, drinkable texture rather than a thick, spoonable one. Pregnant individuals and those with true dairy allergies should approach fermented dairy with caution and consult a healthcare provider first. What spoiled milk once threatened to waste, fermentation quietly turned into one of the oldest gut remedies still standing today. Number 4. Ginger root. A relatable situation. Something heavy sits in the stomach after a meal, and instinct says to reach for a tablet. But long before pharmacies existed, sailors chewed on raw ginger root to survive rough seas, and grandmothers steeped it into tea the moment a stomach started acting up. Ginger traveled trade routes for centuries, valued as much for its digestive reputation as its flavor. Traditional healers used it for nausea, sluggish digestion, and general stomach unease, often as one of the first things reached for in a household with no access to formal medicine. Modern research has taken this seriously. Studies indicate compounds in ginger, particularly gingerol, may help speed up stomach emptying and ease feelings of nausea. Research suggests ginger has anti-inflammatory properties that could support a calmer digestive environment overall, which may explain why so many cultures independently arrived at the same conclusion about this root. The mistake most people make is reaching for candied or heavily processed ginger products, which often contain more sugar than actual ginger, diluting the very compounds responsible for the traditional benefit. Fresh or dried raw root delivers far more of what old healers were actually relying on. Steep thin slices in hot water for a simple tea. Grate it fresh into stir-fries and soups. or chew a small raw piece when nausea strikes. The smell is sharp and peppery. The taste starts warm and slightly sweet before turning distinctly spicy on the tongue. Those prone to acid reflux should use ginger in moderation, as very high amounts may aggravate symptoms in sensitive individuals. A root that grew quietly underground ended up settling more uneasy stomachs across more centuries than most medicine cabinets ever will. Number 5. Garlic. Here is a warning most people never hear. The smell that makes garlic unpopular at dinner is the exact same compound that gave it a reputation as a natural first aid staple for thousands of years. Old homesteads planted garlic near the kitchen door, not just for flavor, but for its long shelf life and its reputation as something that supported the body through cold seasons. Traditional healers crushed it into pastes, infused it into oils, and treated it as a household essential rather than a seasoning. Modern science has traced much of garlic's reputation to a compound called allicin, released when a garlic clove is crushed or chopped. Studies indicate allicin has antimicrobial properties that may help support a healthier balance of gut bacteria. Research suggests garlic also contains prebiotic fiber, meaning it may help feed the beneficial bacteria already living in the digestive tract, rather than introducing new ones directly. But here's where it gets interesting. Cooking garlic too quickly after crushing it can destroy much of that allicin before it has a chance to form properly. The compound needs a few minutes of exposure to air after crushing or chopping before heat is applied, something almost nobody in a rushed modern kitchen bothers to do. Crush it and let it rest for 10 minutes before cooking. Add it raw and minced to dressings, or infuse it slowly into olive oil for later use. Its smell is sharp and unmistakable. Its raw taste is pungent and slightly hot, mellowing into something sweeter once cooked. Anyone on blood-thinning medication should speak with a healthcare provider before consuming large amounts of raw garlic regularly. A bulb strong enough to clear a room ended up quietly clearing the way for better gut balance in households that never once called it medicine. Number 6. Apple cider vinegar. An overlooked truth. The cloudy, unfiltered vinegar most people avoid buying because it looks off is actually the version old households valued the most. Apple cider vinegar was originally a practical solution to a simple problem: leftover or imperfect apples that were fermented first into cider and then further into vinegar, preserving the fruit's usefulness rather than letting it rot. Farmhouses kept jugs of it for everything from food preservation to general tonic use, often diluted in water and taken before meals. That cloudy sediment floating at the bottom, often labeled the mother, is actually a colony of beneficial bacteria and enzymes formed during fermentation. Research suggests raw, unfiltered vinegar retains more of these live compounds than the clear filtered versions sold for cleaning purposes. Studies indicate acetic acid, the primary compound in vinegar, may help support healthier blood sugar responses after meals, which in turn can influence how comfortably the digestive system handles a meal. The mistake most people make is drinking it full strength, which can irritate the throat and tooth enamel over time. A small amount, roughly 1 to 2 tablespoons diluted in a full glass of water, is the traditional approach, not a straight shot from the bottle. Use it diluted before meals, whisk it into salad dressings, or add a splash to marinades. It should smell sharply acidic, almost fruity underneath the sourness, with a taste that is intensely tart. Those with acid reflux, ulcers, or on certain medications should use it cautiously and check with a healthcare provider first. That cloudy jug, sitting forgotten in the back of a pantry, may be doing more for digestion than the sleek bottle standing in front of it. Number 7. Chicory root. If this is making you realize how much old plant knowledge has been forgotten, hit the like button. It helps this video reach people who still believe useful knowledge should not disappear. And if you haven't subscribed yet, join us here for more practical plant wisdom, health science, and self-sufficient living ideas every week. Now, back to the list. During coffee shortages throughout history, from wartime Europe to Depression-era households, chicory root was roasted, ground, and brewed as a coffee substitute. What began as a necessity turned out to carry its own quiet reputation for settling the stomach, something old households noticed even if they never fully understood why. Chicory root grows as a hardy, unassuming plant along roadsides and fields, with a woody root that early farmers dug up, dried, and roasted, much the way coffee beans are treated today. Modern science has since identified why this root earned its place at the table. Studies indicate chicory root is one of the richest natural sources of inulin, a type of prebiotic fiber that has been studied for its potential to feed beneficial bacteria in the gut. Research suggests inulin fermentation in the colon may support the production of compounds linked to a healthier gut lining and more regular digestion. Most people ignore this one, assuming it's just a coffee alternative for people avoiding caffeine. That's a mistake, because the fiber content alone makes it worth including on its own merits, caffeine-free or not. Roast and grind the dried root for a coffee-like beverage, or steep smaller pieces as a simple tea. It carries an earthy, slightly bitter, almost nutty flavor, and a toasty aroma reminiscent of dark roasted coffee. Those introducing high amounts of inulin to their diet for the first time should start with small servings, as excess prebiotic fiber can cause temporary bloating in sensitive individuals. A wartime substitute, born out of scarcity, turned out to be quietly feeding the gut in ways real coffee never could. Number 8. Dandelion root. Here is the myth versus the reality. Most people see dandelions as an enemy to eliminate from the lawn. Old homesteads saw them as one of the most useful plants growing for free, right at their doorstep. Every part of the dandelion was traditionally used, but the root in particular was dug up, dried, and prepared as a bitter tea or roasted coffee substitute, valued by traditional healers as a general digestive support during heavier eating seasons. Bitterness itself was the entire point. Old world eating habits included far more bitter foods than modern diets do, and research suggests bitter compounds may stimulate the release of digestive juices, including bile, which plays a role in breaking down fats. Studies indicate dandelion root also contains inulin fiber, similar to chicory, which has been linked to supporting a healthier population of gut bacteria. Once you recognize this plant, you stop ignoring it. It grows in cracks of sidewalks and neglected lawns, resilient in a way few garden vegetables are, and its very abundance is why it was never taken seriously by modern food culture, despite generations of practical use before it. Only harvest roots from areas free of pesticide or herbicide spraying. Correct identification is essential, and always wash thoroughly before drying or roasting. Roast and brew as a coffee alternative, or steep dried root pieces for a simple bitter tea. The smell is earthy and slightly woody, the taste unmistakably bitter with a faint sweetness underneath. Those on diuretic medications or with bile duct obstructions should consult a healthcare provider before regular use. The plant pulled from lawns every summer was once dug up on purpose by people who understood exactly what it was worth. Number 9. Slippery elm bark. Few people today have even heard of this one, and that in itself is the overlooked truth. Slippery elm bark was once one of the most trusted natural remedies in old apothecaries and homesteads, used specifically for its effect on an irritated digestive tract. Traditional healers stripped the inner bark from slippery elm trees, dried it, and ground it into a fine powder. When mixed with water, it formed a smooth, slightly slippery gel, which is exactly where the tree earned its name. That gel-like texture comes from a substance called mucilage, and research suggests mucilage may form a soothing, protective coating along the lining of the digestive tract when consumed. Studies indicate this coating effect could help ease general stomach discomfort and support a calmer digestive environment, which lines up closely with why old households reached for it whenever the stomach felt raw or unsettled. The mistake most people make when they do encounter this powder is treating it like a regular herbal tea, steeping it briefly, and expecting the same effect. Slippery elm needs to be properly mixed into a paste, or gently simmered, to develop its full gel-like consistency before it delivers the traditional soothing benefit. Mix the powder with warm water to form a thin gruel. Stir it into oatmeal, or use small amounts in baked goods for a subtle textural boost. It has almost no strong smell, a mild, slightly sweet taste, and a distinctly slippery, smooth texture once mixed with liquid. Correct identification and sourcing from a reputable supplier is essential, and it should be taken separately from medications, since the mucilage may slow their absorption. Tree bark most people would never think twice about once sat at the center of digestive first aid long before the phrase gut health existed. Number 10. Fennel seeds. A surprising fact to open this one. In many traditional households, a small bowl of fennel seeds was placed on the table after every single meal, not as decoration, but as a deliberate digestive habit passed down for generations. Fennel plants grow with a distinct licorice-like fragrance, and old farms often planted them along garden borders both for their flavor and their reputation as a reliable after-meal remedy for bloating and discomfort. Modern science has taken a genuine interest in this small seed. Research suggests fennel contains compounds like anethol that may have antispasmodic properties, potentially helping relax the digestive tract and ease trapped gas. Studies indicate fennel tea has traditionally been used to support smoother digestion after heavy or rich meals, a pattern now being explored more formally in clinical research. The overlooked mistake most people make is only associating fennel with its bulb form used in cooking, completely ignoring the seeds, which is where much of this traditional digestive reputation actually comes from. Chew a small pinch of seeds directly after a meal the traditional way, or steep a teaspoon in hot water for a simple after-dinner tea. The smell is distinctly sweet and licorice-like, the taste warm and aromatic, with a slightly cooling aftertaste. Those with known allergies to related plants such as celery or carrot should introduce fennel cautiously. A small bowl of seeds sitting quietly at the end of a meal was doing more for digestion than most people ever gave it credit for. Number 11. Ground flaxseed. This next plant changes things, because it's sitting in most kitchens right now, completely underused. Flaxseed has been cultivated for thousands of years, originally prized for its fiber used in cloth making, but old households also understood its value as a food, particularly for keeping digestion regular. Farmers pressed flaxseed for oil and ground the leftover seed into meal, adding it into porridge and baked goods as a matter of routine rather than as a specific health strategy, simply because it was already available on the homestead. Modern research has since given a clearer picture of why this mattered. Studies indicate flaxseed is rich in both soluble and insoluble fiber, a combination that has been linked to more regular bowel movements and a healthier gut environment overall. Research suggests the mucilage content in flaxseed, similar in concept to slippery elm, may help soothe the digestive lining, while its fiber feeds beneficial gut bacteria. The mistake almost everyone makes is buying whole flaxseed and eating it without grinding it first. Whole flaxseed largely passes through the digestive system undigested, meaning most of its benefit is lost entirely unless it is ground shortly before eating. Grind seeds fresh and stir into oatmeal, yogurt, or smoothies, or add to homemade bread and baked goods. It has a mild, nutty smell and taste, with a slightly gritty texture once ground. Always drink adequate water when increasing fiber intake, as flaxseed absorbs liquid and can cause discomfort if taken without enough fluid. A seed once spun into cloth turned out to be quietly weaving better digestion into meals the entire time. Number 12. Traditional rolled oats. A relatable situation to open this one. A rushed modern breakfast usually skips straight past oats in favor of something quicker, sweeter, and far less useful to the gut. Old farming households leaned on oats as a daily staple, not because it was exciting, but because it was affordable, filling, and reliably easy on the stomach, something that mattered enormously to people doing hard physical labor every single day. Modern science has given oats a level of respect that its humble reputation never quite reflected. Research suggests oats contain a specific type of soluble fiber called beta-glucan, which has been studied for its potential to support healthy cholesterol levels and feed beneficial gut bacteria. Studies indicate this fermentable fiber may help produce short-chain fatty acids in the colon, compounds that have been linked to a calmer, less inflamed digestive environment. An overlooked truth here is that heavily processed instant oats, often loaded with sugar and stripped of much of their natural fiber structure, do not deliver nearly the same benefit as old-fashioned rolled or steel-cut oats, which is exactly the form traditional households actually ate. Cook slowly with water or fermented dairy, soak overnight for easier digestion, or add to homemade bread for texture. The smell is warm and slightly nutty, the taste mild and creamy once cooked, with a satisfying, hearty texture. Those with celiac disease should ensure oats are certified free of cross-contamination with gluten-containing grains. The plain bowl of oats every rushed modern breakfast skips past was once the quiet backbone of daily digestive steadiness on every working farm. Number 13. Turmeric root. Here's an overlooked truth. The golden stains turmeric leaves on a cutting board are the same compound researchers are now studying closely for its effect on gut inflammation. Turmeric root grows underground, similar in shape to ginger, and old households across warmer climates dried and ground it into a powder used daily in cooking, valued as much for its practical role in preserving food as for its traditional reputation in supporting overall wellness. Modern research has focused heavily on curcumin, the primary active compound in turmeric. Studies indicate curcumin has notable anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties, and research suggests it may help support a healthier gut lining and a more balanced population of gut bacteria over time. The mistake nearly everyone makes is consuming turmeric alone and wondering why it doesn't seem to do much. Curcumin is poorly absorbed by the body on its own. Traditional cooking almost always paired it with black pepper and a source of fat, and modern research has confirmed that piperine, a compound in black pepper, can significantly increase curcumin absorption. Add fresh or dried turmeric to soups, stews, and rice with a pinch of black pepper and a source of healthy fat, or steep into a warm milk-based drink. Its smell is earthy and slightly peppery, the taste warm, faintly bitter, with a deep golden color that stains everything it touches. Those with gallstones or on blood-thinning medication should consult a healthcare provider before regular high-dose use. A root that stains everything gold turned out to be quietly staining its way into modern gut research for very good reason. Number 14. Burdock root. A warning most people never expect. The clingy burrs that stick to clothing and pet fur in late summer come from a plant whose root was once considered a serious food staple across parts of Europe and Asia. Burdock grows as a tall, coarse plant, easy to dismiss as a weed, but early farmers and traditional healers dug up its long taproot each year, treating it as both a root vegetable and a general tonic for digestive sluggishness. Research suggests burdock root is rich in inulin fiber, once again pointing back to that same prebiotic pattern seen in chicory and dandelion, feeding beneficial bacteria in the gut. Studies indicate the plant also contains antioxidant compounds that have been studied for their potential role in reducing oxidative stress within the digestive tract. Most people ignore this one entirely, assuming anything covered in burrs must be useless. That's a mistake, because the root itself, once peeled and prepared, carries none of the burr's clinginess, just a mild, earthy vegetable underneath. Peel and slice the root for stir-fries and soups the way it's traditionally prepared in East Asian cooking, or dry and steep it as a simple root tea. The smell is earthy and slightly sweet, the taste mild, with a texture similar to a firm carrot once cooked. Correct identification is essential, as burdock can resemble other wild plants, and those with allergies to related plants should introduce it cautiously. The weed responsible for stubborn burrs on every pant leg was, underneath it all, one of the most reliable root vegetables an old homestead could rely on. Number 15. Psyllium husk. We saved this one for last on purpose, because when the stomach truly rebelled, This was often the very first thing traditional healers reached for. Psyllium comes from the seed husks of a plantain family plant, and traditional use of it stretches back centuries across multiple continents, valued specifically for one very simple reason. Almost nothing else worked as reliably and as gently to restore regularity when digestion had gone off track. Modern science has confirmed what those healers observed through pure repetition and necessity. Studies indicate psyllium husk forms a thick gel when mixed with water, largely due to its high soluble fiber content, and research suggests this gel can help soften stool, support regular bowel movements, and provide fuel for beneficial gut bacteria during fermentation in the colon. Research suggests this fermentation process may also support the production of short-chain fatty acids linked to a healthier gut lining. The mistake almost everyone makes with psyllium is not drinking enough water alongside it. Because it absorbs liquid so effectively, taking it without adequate hydration can actually worsen digestive discomfort rather than relieve it. A detailed traditional use always paired with plenty of water by default. Mix the husk into a full glass of water and drink immediately before it thickens, or stir smaller amounts into smoothies. It has almost no smell, a very mild, neutral taste, and forms a distinctly gel-like, slightly gritty texture once hydrated. Always increase psyllium gradually and drink sufficient water throughout the day, and those with swallowing difficulties or bowel obstructions should avoid it or consult a healthcare provider first. The husk of a humble seed, saved for last, was once the very first thing reached for whenever digestion needed real help. Here is the deeper lesson, sitting underneath all 15 of these. None of this knowledge required a laboratory. It required attention. Old households paid close attention to what settled the stomach and what didn't, what lasted through winter and what spoiled, what smelled right and what didn't, and they passed that observation down the only way they could, through practice, not paperwork. Modern life moved fast enough that most of that attention got lost somewhere along the way, replaced by convenience and quick fixes that often ignore the very foundation those old homesteads understood instinctively. But the plants never disappeared. They are still growing along fences, sitting in root cellars, waiting in the back of pantries. The knowledge is still recoverable, one food at a time. If there is one practical action to take from everything covered today, let it be this. Pick just one food from this list, the one that felt the most surprising or the most familiar, and actually try it this week. Not all 15 at once, just one, given real attention. Which one on this list surprised you the most? Drop it in the comments, because chances are, someone reading will learn about a food they've walked past their entire life without ever once realizing what it was capable of. If you want more forgotten plant wisdom, practical health science, and self-sufficient living ideas delivered every week, subscribe now, because the next video might just cover the one plant growing in your own backyard that you've been ignoring all along.